Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to another StarCraft video. Now what I got for you today is a very high level match of professional Terran versus Zerg. Spawning here in the bottom left hand corner of Cerulean Fall LE and playing with the red Zerg drones. We are currently looking inside of the main base of the South Korean player who goes by the name of Sue. And his opponent spawning in the opposite corner of the map. He's playing with the blue Terran SCVs. He's the strongest player from China, and he goes by the name of Time. Alrighty, so here we go. Time for a top level match of Terran versus Zerg. Not gonna lie though, I feel like I've been doing a lot of commentaries over the last couple of months. I feel like probably more than like half of my videos over the last couple of months have been commentary of StarCraft 2 matches. I hope a lot of you are enjoying them. I never really intended for this many commentaries to go live on YouTube and for me to go ahead and cast as many games. But not gonna lie, I've been really enjoying it, and I guess for the time being, we're just gonna stick with it because the meta is developing so very rapidly. Speaking of which, I'm excited to figure out what both players decide to go for in this particular match. We do see that very quick gas and spawning pool here from Sue. This is something that we do see every once in a while, usually just the spawning pool though. But this does give Sue the option to maybe go for a little bit of aggression here in the earlier part of the game. Plus, if Time decided to go for something a little bit more aggressive, for example like a double proxy barracks, it would just be shut down before it even really got started. So we'll see if he decides to leave the drones in gas. He is reaching 100 Vespian right now, and he is gonna, at the very least, remove one of them out of that gas geyser here for the time being. A couple Zerglings already coming up, but now with that drone transition, I don't think that Sue is really gonna commit to this aggression all too much. It's likely just meant to maybe see if he can deal some counter pressure, and just in case his opponent decided to go for that really aggressive early game opener as well. Now the Reaper will not be able to see those Zerglings. Ooh, very close. But Sue being perfectly aware of where these links are gonna be at, he is gonna be able to run them straight to the other side of the map, to this command center that's currently being built by an SCV. Now, Time did see the timing right there of that hatchery. He immediately does decide to return back home as well with that Reaper, but already the delay here is gonna cost Time just a couple of seconds before he manages to get the command center finished. And it's not very massive, right? But it's all these little edges that pro gamers are looking for. He managed to be safe, and he managed to delay his opponent just a little bit, but obviously we have to take into account as well that Sue deliberately delayed his own expansion too. So I think we are pretty much even at this point. Alrighty. Now, very normal follow-up here from Time. We see that one barracks followed up with a single factory and then also that one starport. A tech lab is coming up that will be lined up right around the same time as the starport finishes. So that does mean that Time can transition towards many different things. Did he already take himself... No third gas yet, right? Did he already take himself that third gas? Is he gonna go for Battlecruisers? I mean, you guys know I get excited when I see Battlecruisers, okay? But in this case, it doesn't look like it's gonna be that really quick fusion core. And instead, it will very likely be that good old Banshee-based playstyle. There we go. Cloak will start up, and a Banshee will also be coming up here. Obviously, the other option for him would be to go for a Viking, then maybe followed up with a Banshee or maybe like a Liberator or something along those lines. Sometimes you want to have your Zerg opponent scout that you do have that tech lab, which obviously was already spotted right now by Sue with those Zerglings poking up on the high ground. But it doesn't really matter, right? The response is always going to be the same here for Zerg. Zerg is always going to have to get himself that lair at a decent timing, and he's also going to have to get himself a couple of Spore Crawlers just in case it is going to be that Cloak Banshee. For Zerg, you can never really figure that kind of thing out. And most of the time, I do think that Banshees are still going to be a really good option because you can sort of force those decisions out of your Zerg opponent, but also put out some pressure on the map. Speaking of pressure, couple of Hellions trying to see if they can potentially deal some damage. Usually at this level of play, we don't really see these Hellions dealing any critical amounts of damage. They're really just meant to once again force some additional queens to maybe slow down the creep spread and maybe kill a worker or two if they manage to get to that position. Now, so far, there's really not a lot of Zerglings here in general for Sue. Instead, he's gonna go now for the counter-attack here on the Zerglings that he does have. And he's gonna try and defend this Banshee Hellbat aggression with the roaches that are just about to spawn. This is actually going to be a little bit close, though. At the same time, though, the Zerglings managed to make their way across. They're going to be able to surround these two Hellions, and that's going to hurt quite a bit. While that's going on, the Roaches have now spawned. And while the Queens are taking a lot of damage, the Overseer is going to finish up shortly as well. So I do think that should be able to finish this up here in just a little bit. Zerglings still trying to deal a little bit of damage here and there. But all things considered, just an eye for an eye. Man, that was really dramatic. Did you hear that? The music ended at the perfect moment. Thank you, StarCraft, for making me sound more dramatic than I actually am. Anyways, nice little bit of early game pressure here from both players. But this is where the real damage can begin, right? Time already getting himself a couple worker kills right there on that Banshee. But it's really not too critical. So how many workers there in total? 3 workers on both sides. Now, I like this. Did Time see that? He did, but he might assume that that is a Spore Crawler. The Spire is coming up here for Su, and he's now only gonna add on the double Evolution Chamber. I just want to emphasize how late these Evo Chambers are, okay? I mean, we already see the Armory now researching here 4 times, so he's likely going to be transitioning towards mech, and indeed, with the additional factories coming up, it does look like that is going to be the case, but 6-minute Evo Chambers is basically as late as these Evo Chambers usually come up. In most cases, you would expect these Evolution Chambers to go up right around like 4 to 5 minutes, okay? It depends on whether or not you can go for the lair first or the upgrades first. It very much so depends on scouting information from Zerg. But 6 minutes is very late, and it does mean that that Time has got a really good timing window to potentially deal some of the hurt as well. Couple additional Banshees now, though, decided to come out as well. The Queens will be forced away from that location, and that means that a couple of the Hellions do manage to sneak into the opposing player's natural. That's 4 drone kills here already. No Zerglings available, so Su is going to have a hard time catching them. And while the majority of the units will be shooed away over at the 3rd base, that's still 5 drone kills there in exchange for 2 Hellions. And I think that's a trait that most Terran players do like making pretty much any day of the week, right? Alright. So here we go. I like this. This is going to be that mech transition from Time. He's already even going now for the Cyclone upgrade, but he's got 2 Thors finishing as well as 2 Medivacs. So I do think we're going to be seeing some Thor drop harass as a follow-up here as well from Time. No real Mutalisks out just yet, and no real Siege Tanks yet either. There are just about to be 6 Mutas, though, that spawn, and that's going to be a little bit scary here for our Terran player, because I'm starting to look at the units that shoot up. I mean, obviously, these 2 Thors can be very helpful, but I think these are meant offensively, right? I think he's going to use those to maybe deal some additional pressure, too, whereas the Mutas, they are currently headed. Are they going to, like... I guess they're gonna group up in the bottom right-hand corner and then make a move across the map. These are gonna be completely unscouted, and that does mean that Time is gonna be in a little bit of trouble. I'm quite surprised, though, because he did see that the Spire was there, but he just simply hasn't responded yet. I guess he's trying to put on the pressure and maybe trying to prevent his opponent from even sending the Mutas across here in the first place. That does mean that Su is going to have to defend with just Roaches and Queens, but I think that's going to be enough here for the time being. At the same time, though, the Mutas made their way into the opposing player's main base. That's already 7 of those SCVs going down. One of the Cyclones running dangerously low as well. Now with the Medivacs returning back home as well, I think that Su should be shooed away here in just a little bit. But I really do like the way that this is going so far, though, for really both players. I love the ideas and the strategies that they are going for, and I feel like Time probably could have prevented those 8 or so worker losses just by making a single one of those missile turrets in each of the mineral lines. Obviously, with the new patch, a lot of Zerg players are a little hesitant playing heavy Hydra, which is what we do see Su transitioning into right now, but since Hydra has received a bit of an attack speed nerf, it's about 10% in total. A lot of Zerg players don't really feel as confident playing mass Hydra like they once used to. And on top of that, the change to the Thor, it's dealing now much less splash damage to, for example, Mutalisk, and it dealing more like single target damage to units like, for example, Brute Lords. But all of those things combined do make Mutas once again a good option. And I've been seeing a lot of Zerg players just making like 10 or so of them, right? Some of them obviously will commit to a lot more, but I think just about 10 or so is a really good amount to deal some of that harassment damage. And it's really the reason why Zerg has been able to get 11 of those worker kills. The majority of those did come out of the Mutas. Plus, it will force a lot of these Thor drops to stay at home as well, right? It's a nice little play. Anyways, it looks like we're transitioning towards much more of a mid-game transition right now here. So, Well, one changeling tried to get in here. We already do see additional starports here. There's that fusion core coming up as well. Hyperflight rotors being researched here. Time is gonna continue building that Sky Terran army, which I am personally a massive fan of. I mean, the upgrade right here is basically a movement speed buff to the Banshees. Usually Banshees aren't that popular, right, in this matchup, but they do seem to be quite popular over the last couple of weeks as they go really well together with Cyclones. This is very much so a glass cannon composition, though. Time has to be very careful. At the same time, though, he did decide to once again load up those stores into the Metavacs to try to see if they can potentially kill a base. Banshee's still grouped up together with those Cyclones and the Hellions. By the way, the hatchery was killed there. So that's a nice little pickup there by Time. But this combination of units, look at this. This is so sick. And now the transition, no, oh my god. Dude, this is how you get me excited. Just make a couple Battlecruisers, okay? But make them at a point in the game where a lot of people would not expect them to come out. Plus, that's already +1 air weapons done here for Time, right? By the time that these Battlecruisers come out. This is so sick. Battlecruisers obviously attack really quickly. Well, I mean, if you give it... Oh god. I was just complimenting you, Time. You can't just give away all your army units like that. But if you already have +1, right? It means that all of those little Battlecruiser shots, because they attack very quickly, all deal more damage. Every single missile will deal more damage. That's really, really sweet. I love this, though. Oh, so sick. Finally, we do see a couple of siege tanks coming out, but this is nothing like the mech style that we saw back in the day. Battlecruisers with siege tanks as well as a Banshee hit squad. Now, I really like this. I do also like the transition, though. Sue decided to go for the really quick Banshee, or rather the really quick Vipers to go after those Banshees. Parasitic Bomb absolutely shutting down all of these flying things. And that does make it difficult for Time to continue with the pressure. Speaking of pressure, though, he did finally once again lose one of those stores here, but there's no denying that they have been denying bases here for a while as well. Even this hatchery over here ended up falling too. So I really like this, right? Time playing an aggressive mech-based style, but now transitioning into something that looks a lot more passive while making 3 Battlecruisers at once. I know that some of you have been giving me a hard time in the comment section, okay? It's like, how do you get Loco excited in 2018? Just make a couple Battlecruisers. But seriously though, Battlecruisers, they were the most underutilized unit in SC2 just because they were awful. And while I still feel like they're maybe not as great as they could be, and players are still trying to figure out where they fit in the meta, I think this is so cool. I think it is so cool that one of my personal favorite, like lore-wise at least, right? One of my personal favorite units is finally starting to see some proper play in, and you know, the highest level of SC2. I love it. It's so sick. More Battlecruisers coming up, guys. These Hydras, well, we've seen Hydras versus Battlecruisers before, right? Hydras are good, but Battlecruisers absolutely tear through units on the ground. Still, though, those parasitic bombs as well as the blinding clouds are very good. But you can yank those units away, but they can just simply tactical jump towards the high ground. Looks like the CC on the low ground, though, will be killed. And Time will hold for now. That was sick. That was really good. I would love to see that transition. There we go. Sue is actually now going to go for Corruptors instead. So Corruptors, obviously, much better at dealing with Battlecruisers. I'm assuming that Time has got a trick up his sleeve for that as well. He's just simply producing more Battlecruisers, man. I guess if you get a lot of attack upgrades, it's still going to be really good, because the attack upgrades here for the Battlecruisers started up much earlier than any upgrades for the Zerg Air. As a matter of fact, is there any upgrade for Zerg Air right now? There are none. So if you get +2 Battlecruisers versus unupgraded Corruptors, right? How exactly does that play out? I'm not entirely sure, actually. I think that, you know, unupgraded Battlecruisers obviously aren't very good against Corruptors. But if you have +2 air weapons on them, ship weapons, I think there's probably going to be some potential. Plus, the Yamato cannon, you can simply just rapid fire all of those Corruptors down and they will be taken out of the equation really quickly. Time using an aggressive style while building up to 5 base economy. I love it. So sick. And look at the speed of those Banshees as well, man. This is one of the things that we saw Maru do earlier on in 2018. He went for like some Banshee hit squads at really high level games as well. But with the new patch, the Hyperflight Rotors upgrade, which is that movement speed, it basically became a little bit cheaper. And Banshees are some of the highest DPS units in the game. Like, they really do pick up units very quickly. I mean, the 2-shot drones, And while I don't think this one in particular is gonna do that much, it is forcing Su to like spend a lot of time over here just to try and be an absolute nuisance. And he is forced to pay a lot of attention to try and get rid of that Banshee as well. Well, while that's going on though, the Brute Lords are out. And Su is making a move for it. This is a scary army. I love these couple of missile turrets. They're gonna give him a lot of potential here as well. I think you don't really want a siege tank sieged up though in this location, right? They can do a lot of friendly fire as well, and I think that these siege tanks will be picked off here in just a little bit. But that's a massive spread on that amount of Battlecruisers. The Ravens are out as well. Keep in mind, anti-armor missile can 100% change the tide of battle. Great Hunter C or rather anti-armor missile. All of these Battlecruisers are jumping back when they are at low HP as well. Time showing us how good he is. The Yamato cannons are finally coming up. They're getting rid of all of those Corruptors as well. Couple Thors now on the ground, trying to target fire down as many of those high value targets as they can. And Time manages to hold. Oh, dude. Is he chasing down Vipers right now with tactical jump? I think he is. Oh, dude, that was so sick. Oh, man. I've got nerd chills after that. That is so sick. Whew, okay. Look at the amount of red HP Battlecruisers. Just send a couple SCVs over here, okay? Just repair them back up. Oh, man, that was so good. All right. So I love the decision, actually. And I think I personally would have made this mistake if I was in Time's shoes right now. I love the decision that Time just decided to sit back and not actually push the issue. I think a lot of players would be like, okay, I killed the Zerg, charge! And while you can definitely charge, you likely would die to the Zerg reinforcements, right? That's kind of like the thing they do, right? They can make 100 Corruptors at once, and you're wondering where they came from. Speaking of 100 Corruptors, that's a lot of Corruptors here in total. Once again, a couple of Hellions trying to make their way downtown, walking fast. Okay, I won't quote that any longer, but still. That's 5 drones there in total, not bad at all. Buying some time for these BCs to go back up to full hit points, but right now, I'm looking at the supply count, guys. I'm seeing 200 supply worth of Terran units. That is 11 Battlecruisers, 2 Ravens, 1 Banshee that apparently is seeking death while, I guess, going down with a fight. This is a scary Terran army. There's 6 Thors as well. I feel like this army composition is something that we just haven't really seen before. It's something we haven't really seen play out very well in the TVZ matchup. Alright, well, I'm ready, Time. All you need to do right now is move across the map. Win my heart. Smash this Zerg. Kill the bugs. Do whatever it is you need to do, but I would love to see if this army is capable of walking over the Zerg player. I think it's gonna be tricky though. Su, he has been macroing up a really good amount of units. He does have +3 missile right now on these Hydras, as well as +2 Carapace, which is really good. He also now has +1 flyer for his air units. I kind of feel like he needs to prioritize armor upgrades, right? On those air units. I'm not entirely sure. I guess he just simply plans on target firing down these Battlecruisers. And speaking of which, Time has decided that the time is up. He's moving forward. These Hydras are absolutely gonna be smashed with the anti-armor missile very, very easily. Parasitic bombs so far dealing a little bit of damage, but nothing too critical just yet. All of the Hydras have absolutely been evaporated. Once again, tactical jumps are being utilized to try and move the weakened Battlecruisers back. We do see the Yamato cannons coming up as well, and Su is forced to GG out. Oh, man. Alright, so I'm a Zerg player at heart. I am one of the biggest fanboys of Su, period. I love watching Su succeed, and I still want Su to win a premier event, at the very least at some point in his career, okay? At least in 2019, I'm feeling it, man. I'm on that Su hype train, but seriously, like, seeing mech succeed when it's not that turtle style, when it's like Battlecruiser based, with a couple Raven up in the air. I'm trying to think how you would even counter this right now if you're Zerg. I'm not even sure. I guess you would need some Spore Crawlers and, you know, maybe like a big spread. Maybe Queens as well, right? Queens would probably be pretty good in this scenario. Like Corruptors and Queens. That might actually be the way to deal with this, but that's going to be something that Zerg players will have to figure out over the next couple of months, because I just don't see this kind of strategy slowing down just yet. Curious to see what time will bring, but regardless, for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next one.